Welcome to this week's episode of Hump Day Romance. I'm your host, Zeus. Have y'all ever went out with a dating referee? You know what I mean by that? A dating referee. What are referees? Referees are people who are looking for violations in the game, right? For when you're breaking any rules, any flags, right? Dating referees are people who go on a date with somebody, right, that they've never been out with, and instead of experiencing the person with no judgment, they go into the entire situation looking, searching, and creating red flags. You know what I mean? I call these people self-sabotagers. I remember this one time years ago, I went out on a date with a woman, and she was older than me. She had to be like late 40s, something like that, right? She was well over her 40s. And I thought she was just beautiful, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. I thought she was nice. She had that natural hair look. She was very slender. And I thought she had beautiful feminine energy. So y'all know me. I invite her out to a nice, classy fish sandwich. You know what I'm saying? I say, hey, baby, listen, we can go down to the Krusty Krab, go get hooked up. So she said, yeah. She said she wanted to go out. So we went out, right? Now, the date, to me, went amazing. And she confirmed multiple times throughout the date that she was having a great time. So the first place we went to a nice restaurant, had something to eat. Everything was good. When I sat down and we started talking, I was doing a little bit more of the talking than she was. So I said, you know what? Let me ask you some questions about you. Tell me about your past. Tell me about, your life. Just regular dating talk. She was very closed off. Like, she was, once again, older than me, but she did tell me that she was married 2 times before and never had any children. I said, okay, that's a little interesting, but I'm not gonna jump to conclusions, so I didn't ask why. No problem, cool. But I did wanna see how open she was to giving information. So she said, listen, I like you, I'm talking, but I'm a little nervous. So she was like, I'm holding things back. And I'm just like, well, no pressure, no need to hold things back. Let's just talk. Fast forward, we go to 3 different places, right? I'm making her laugh. We having a good time. We having all kinds of fresh foods, hors d'oeuvres, that's hors d'oeuvres for y'all that ain't never been nowhere. But at the end of the night, I walk her out, walk her to her car, give her a hug. I can tell she wanted a kiss. I could tell she wanted some sugar. But you see, back then I was a classy man, still am. So I didn't give her no sugar. I just gave her a hug, said, hey, listen, it's the first date. I'll see you again, right? So I tell her, let me know when she got home safe. She texts me, great. I said, hey, listen, I had a great time with you. Wonderful time. Can't wait to see you again. This is where the problem came. The next morning, I get a text message that I wasn't expecting. Now at the date, she kept going on and on about, man, my conversation was great. She was like, man, you're attractive. You put together all these things. Now, I didn't know much about her because, once again, I was doing more of the talking. It kind of sounded like I was more comfortable in the dating space than she was. Fast forward, the next morning, I get a text saying, hey, I had a good time, yeah, but it's a couple things I might be like overthinking. And I'm like, oh, well, what is it? Well, you talked about your ex a lot. And you talked about her here, and that's a red flag to me, and I don't think you're ready for dating. What? Hold up. Let's evaluate this. First off, she sent me a text message that had like 8 red flags in it, but she only had like 1 or 2 points. So I don't know. Maybe she was just love the red flag emoji. Secondly, so she said I talked about my ex too much. Okay, listen, Zeus is a fair man. I can evaluate myself. If I talked about someone else too much that made you uncomfortable, I can understand that. But that's not what happened. Here's what happened. One moment in the date, we were talking about traveling. Now, mind you, she's not really talking a lot. So now I'm kind of tap dancing, trying to keep the conversation going, right? So we just not 2 fools just staring at each other. So I said, hey, this one time I went on a trip with my ex, and that was the only thing I said about my ex. The rest of the conversation was, yeah, so on the trip, I did this, I did that. Man, it was a great time. Have you ever been anywhere? That was the conversation. That was the only time that I had mentioned my ex, right? So I'm thinking to myself, that's very odd. Like, why are you making a problem about somebody that is not even in my life anymore and that I'm not stuck on? So then she said, well, I remember you said it was a great trip. So in my mind, I felt like, how can I top that? And I'm thinking to myself, how can I top that? So I asked her, I said, oh, when I told you about my trip with my ex, you felt like you had to put yourself in that position to say, hey, I can never be better than that? She was like, yeah, kind of. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. Then I asked her, I said, well, why did you never have, any children with your husbands? She said, I use condoms with my husbands. I said, really? No raw dog? She said, no. Like no yogi at all? She's like, no. I said, okay. I said, why did you wear condoms with your husbands and why were you never pregnant? She said, both of my husbands were financially irresponsible. I said, both? I said, now mind you, I'm thinking this stuff in my head. I didn't say it to her, but I'm thinking it. I'm like, both? So that means the first person you chose, okay, that's not your fault, but you went and found another person. You went and found another person that's exactly like this person. Baby, there's something going on with you. I mean, a habit or something, right? So I done went out and spent good money on you. I took baby girl to 3 different places, right? Having all kinds of nice conversation, doing all that. And at the end of the day, all I get was, oh yeah, I had a great time. Yeah, great. But you were talking about your exes a lot. And I'm like, no, I wasn't. I said, oh, I get it. You're insecure because you're like you're at that age, right? Like you well over 45, you in your late 40s, early 50s, right? And you don't have a man. Now, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing because there's a lot of women out there who are 40s, 50s, and they could get a man if they want to, but they choose not. But let's be clear. When women say, oh, I can have a man, but I don't want to, what a lot of women mean is they can have a man that they don't want, but they can't get the man that they actually want. Now, this situation was different. I actually liked the young lady, right? And she liked me too, so much to the point where when she was telling me this, I was like, well, if I talk so much about my ex, I can handle that. So what's my ex's name? She said, what? I said, what's her name? She said, I don't know. I said, well, where's she from? I don't know. Okay, well, what did she do? What did she look like? If I talk so much about this woman, why can't you tell me anything about her? Because I didn't talk about her a lot, love. I made reference to her one time about a story that was connected to my life in travel. Just me trying to tell you who I was before you. But think about it, y'all. If somebody can't handle the people that's already gone out of your life, if they can't even handle that, how can they handle the people that's currently in your life? Friends, family, people that might like you? See, these people, I realize that people like this are very insecure and they self-sabotage. You see, that situation, I actually really liked Shorty. I thought she was really cool, but I felt devalued by the fact that I really opened up to you, told you about my life, and all you could do was just critique me and judge me and try to villainize me. You ever see somebody who they just not used to being around pure, genuine people, so they really can't believe that you're really like this? That's a thing. When people are not used to being around people who have integrity, who is going to have dignity, who's not going to argue with you, who's not going to do spiteful things to you, people aren't used to being around these people. So they have to find something wrong with you. What's the funny thing was, when we first met, she was worried about the age difference. She thought I was going to be too immature for her. But the irony of it is she was too immature for me. But she didn't know how to not create a problem where there wasn't one. She didn't realize that she was judging someone that she didn't know, and she wasn't even telling me who she was. So how is that I'm not judging the fact that you was married twice, you have no kids, you married twice. She said she hadn't even been pregnant. I said, Mama, you in your 50s, you never been pregnant? Nobody tried to shoot up your club at all? Nobody had faith in you. Really? That's interesting. But I still treated her like the queen that I seen her to be. Now, the next day we had a conversation and she said, well, all right, my bad. I ain't mean to do that. But so when we going out again? And I had told her, I said, you know what? Before you sent me that text message with all those critiques and judgment, after I just literally took you out on a great date, not one mention of, you know what, Zeus? I had a wonderful time. Actually, she did say that, but she said it in one line and then was like a whole paragraph of critique. You know what's interesting, ladies? A lot of times y'all do that to us. Y'all give man a 2-second compliment of something that he's done and accomplished, but then you will go and give a whole list of critiques. And what's so interesting is y'all don't do that to y'all pastors, right? She was a Christian. Y'all don't do that to y'all pastors. A lot of y'all have 9-to-5 jobs. You don't do that to your supervisor. Nah, you don't. But you do it to the person that you're supposed to love and respect the most. Even if we're not in a relationship, the same way how we walked the street, I held her hand. You know what I'm saying? When a man is with a woman, you are his woman at that moment, because if a man comes up to you, smacks you, disrespects you, he has to stand up for your honor, right? If a car comes, he has to walk on the side of the road because he is risking his life in case that car jumps the curb. He'll die for you. So you trying to tell me I'm risking my life to die for you? If somebody was to harm you, I'm risking my life to protect you, and I'm paying for everything, right? I'm giving you my resources, I'm giving you conversation, and you can't give me any appreciation? I ain't even asking for no cheeks or no sloppy toppy. You know what I'm saying? I was chilling. I was like, you know what? I don't even want the cheeks. I don't want the sloppy toppy. I'll save that for later. But what I would like is some appreciation. You know, hey, and acknowledge my effort. An acknowledgement of, hey, a lot of guys aren't like you. Hey, let's go out again. She asked, could we go out again? And you know what I said? Absolutely not. You got to go sit on your thumb, baby, spin on it and watch Hulu. Because now I can't talk to you the same way. Because if I talk to you and I'm honest with you, I know that how you're processing. You're judging me. You're not trying to get to know me. You're not trying to get to know the man I am and the experiences that I've had. But if you did want to know those things about me, then you would learn me. We would actually develop a friendship. But you think your shit don't stink so much that you get to judge me. Nah, boo. Real men ain't going for that. That's why after spending my money and a whole night, I said, you know what? No, thank you. Because I've already invested enough time with you and money. And when I told you, I talked to her on the phone and I gave her my grievances just like this. Her response was, okay, so I mean, what, are we going out again or not? Okay, great. So you didn't hear nothing I said and you just want to get to what you want to get to. You want me to go out with you again? I'm good, boo. I'm good, because you self-sabotaged us. Moral of this story, really evaluate what kind of person you are, right? Are you a dating referee? Are you looking for red flags in people? And sometimes we're looking for red flags in people because if we're looking for the red flags in you and we find them, then that means we don't got to talk about our red flags. See what I'm saying? If you've enjoyed this episode of Hump Day Romance and you want to show a little love, you feel like I said something that really resonated with you, then feel free to cash app $1 to the show. Just $1. We appreciate it, and it really does go into this content and the things that I'm doing for you. You know what I mean? I love that y'all are loving the videos, and we want to give y'all more content. So the fact that y'all are investing, thank you to all my new followers. I appreciate y'all. All right? I'm Top Rope Zeus. Live your dreams, not your reality.
Respect.